Welcome back to Mike and Gen Xing through the world. I
Yeah,
got it
you got
right.
it right.
It took episode 3, but I finally got it right.
That's Mike. I'm Jen.
Yes, married couple.
Born in 77, Gen
Born in 77. Yep.
Xers. And the journey that we're taking right now is podcasting.
Yes.
We are trying to teach our kids that you are never too old to try something new and to chase all your dreams. And
Absolutely.
we got lots to say. I'm pretty opinionated. This guy's got lots of facts. And
I do.
we
Some
figured
of
we
them.
could make
Some
it
of them
fun
are
and
true.
interesting. And if nothing else, we can just sit back and laugh at ourselves in 10 years and say, look what we did. So
Absolutely.
here we are. Yay.
So there's a pretty big news story going on right now,
Okay.
but it's actually really not even a big news story. It's kind of I don't know, Alyssa Milano.
Ugh.
So for those that don't know, Alyssa Milano had put a post out on.
Well, so let's give some backstory to Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano. Okay, we can get the backstory.
So
Go ahead.
she was big when we grew up in a show called Who's the Boss with
Yes.
Tony Danza, Judith Light, Catherine Hellman,
Loved that show.
Danny
Something
Pinaro.
Pinchot?
No, that's Bronson
Pinaro.
Pinchot.
Oh, that's right.
But I don't know. Anyways, so she was on the show. I don't. She's done stuff since then.
She was in Charmed, I thought.
Charmed, yes, yes, Charmed. And other than that, I really don't know that she's really done much else.
Not
Maybe
sure.
some small things, but nothing that's truly stood out. So, Who's the Boss and Charmed are probably what she's best known for. I know she did do some.
I'm sure she had to be in some kind of movies.
I'm sure, but obviously it wasn't anything that was memorable, at least in my opinion, or that I knew of. But she also did some designing of female football merch. So
Okay.
she said a lot of it was like guyish, and so she kind of came back with doing that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Then a few years back, she got real political and real, uh, in my opinion, needed to stay in her lane. And I think her
Was she? Who did she push for? You
I
remember?
don't know. Well,
I don't remember. So I truly cannot speak on that part.
she's definitely
Okay, I gotcha.
not on our
Yeah, I
side.
gotcha.
Yeah. So
She does live in California, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. If yes.
Mhm.
So we live in the South. If the we're going to try not to get too political, but unfortunately, with the way of the world right now, politics are going to come into play. But we want to kind of stay away. Now, again, all of this is our opinions. These are just our thoughts.
Mhm.
We will try to give you as much factual information that we can find as possible. But
And sometimes I make it up,
yeah, he tries.
but then I tell you it's made up, and everybody moves on.
But we're going to try to be, when we give the information, we're going to try to be as factual as possible. We're not going to do exact quotes because I don't have them sitting here in front of me, but we're going to let you know the gist of what was said.
Correct.
So, and this is all for entertainment purposes only.
So Alyssa Milano, about a week
Recently.
about a week ago, I believe, but began a GoFundMe.
No, it was more than that. It was probably about a month ago.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, she did a GoFundMe for her child's baseball team.
Shared it
And-
out there with all of her followers.
Mhm.
So the ones that
She
she's a
did.
celebrity, not just her family and friends.
Okay, she was trying. I think the goal was 10,000.
Yes.
For her son's team
Travel baseball team.
to
Go to Cooperstown.
Cooperstown. Every year they do a bunch of Cooperstown is where the Hall of Fame is.
Yes, the Baseball
So,
Hall of Fame.
Even when we were back in Illinois coaching, there were teams from Illinois that were going to Cooperstown. So it's a pretty big deal to go. And to go from California, there's a
Isn't
lot
that
of
where they have
expenses.
the Little League World Series as well?
No, that is in that's in
Either way,
Williamsport. That's in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Either way, it's a really big deal to
It
go to
is.
Cooperstown. There's these big tournaments.
Yes, and then they get to see the Hall of Fame. Well,
Mhm.
anyway, so she put a GoFundMe out there, and people were all on her. It's like, well, you're a celebrity. Why are you possibly putting this out there?
Especially in today's day and
No.
age where people can barely afford to put food on the table.
So she's been basically called out for this.
I agree.
So, and I do not. Now, they did ask her. She does. She does a lot more than just regularly
Or so she says.
for her kids. She does cover scholarships for kids that can't afford it.
She
and-
says
and some other-
she's funded team parties and
Yes.
coaches' gifts and things of that nature, which in my opinion is all voluntary.
Okay. So I have no problem with her going out there and putting a GoFundMe out there. I really don't. I have zero issue with it. I don't think her celebrity status or financial status should determine what she is expected to spend on a travel baseball team. I think her dues are her dues. If she's even gone above and beyond that, that to me is just gravy on top of it. But I don't expect her to do anything like that. I feel if you pay your way and you use your celebrity status to potentially help other families in that way to save them money, great. But I don't think she should have to cut a check for it. That's my opinion.
So I disagree wholeheartedly, 100% disagree.
Okay.
On one hand, the GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
If this was a true GoFundMe, I don't think she should have opened it up to her fan base. I think that she should have, and I think it would have been a lot more respectable and commendable if she would have opened it up to her family and friends like everybody else.
Do we know for a fact that she didn't do that?
No, yeah, she shared it with everybody, her fans.
No,
And
I'm
everything.
not saying she didn't. I'm just asking, did she share it with just friends and family
I,
first?
I highly doubt that. It's not reported that way. What was out there that she
I
shared
didn't
it
see
with
it
everybody.
reported that way either.
So, I think shame on her. There, I went and checked up her net worth. I was thinking, well, you know what? Some of these celebrities, they're not good with money.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, they don't have shit anymore. So I'm like, well, maybe that's the case. Maybe that's why she did it. And granted, they were only raising $10,000 to the rest of us normal mortals. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But to somebody like Alyssa Milano, and like I said, going back and looking, she's a net worth of $10 million.
Okay.
Not only is that, and that's her personal, she's also married. Her husband also is a millionaire personally. Okay. I also find it crazy to believe, just throwing this out there, that this team and these kids that her child plays with, I have to believe are in her same or close to tax bracket. And the ones that are not, in my opinion, just because we have been part of travel programs and we kind of know how these things work, I'm guaranteeing the ones that are not in her tax bracket are probably because they're really, really good. And all organizations offer scholarships for children who do not have the funds to play.
But that money does have to come from somewhere.
Exactly. And it comes from fundraising, but they also, I believe, can get grants and things like that. So however, okay. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about her and what she's asking of people.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And her fans. And that said, she's out of line, in my opinion, to ask anybody for the money that, honestly, she could write a check and I guarantee you, because it's a non-for-profit, can get a tax write-off. I think it's greedy. I don't care how much you have given for team gifts and things like that. And honestly, you can write a check for a good portion and the parents can raise the rest. Or I truly find it really hard to believe that she had to go out there and do this. I really do.
She came out and said what else she does, and everything on top of that is that it didn't fit into her financial situation. And I don't feel that we don't know for a fact. We don't know for a fact
because that net worth. But I really don't think
that net worth could be non-liquid and just
but then okay, like now. So here's another thing. So celebrities get torn up all the time for saying support my so and so, and people are all up in arms. And this is for her kid.
Mm-hmm. But so are you upset that she put it out there, or are you upset that she didn't cut the check?
I think both.
Well, I don't think she's obligated to pay anything.
I don't think she's obligated to do so. Mm-hmm. However,
not one penny extra.
If it meant the kids playing or not playing, I as a mother, if I had the means, I wouldn't even think twice. I'm going to be quite honest with you. And if I had the means, quite frankly, I wouldn't even think twice.
Well, why?
No. I wouldn't even put it out there to begin with.
So why are we not taking her word, saying she can't afford it, and she?
Well, the reason I'm not taking this girl at her word, that brings me to another part of Alyssa Milano.
Okay.
So there's been rumors that Alyssa Milano's kind of a bitch and not a really great person. And just recently at one of those 90s cons or those conventions where they have like stars of old shows.
Almost like a Comic-Con, but
yeah, but okay. it's I think they call it like 90s con, whatever.
Right.
Her co-stars from Charmed, one of them being Shannon Doherty. And Shannon Doherty, in case you don't know, she's been in 90210, which again from our generation, and she was also in Charmed, one of the original cast members of Charmed. And she has come out. She has cancer. She's been diagnosed with cancer. She's been fighting the battle. I think she's winning. She's obviously.
It's been a long battle.
Yeah, she's gone back and forth, but I think she's on the upswing right now. I'm not sure, but I think she's okay. I mean, obviously she's doing these conventions, so I have to believe that she's somewhat healthy.
Hmm.
Um, but it's come out. Alyssa Milano, I believe, has kind of dragged Shannon Doherty through the mud and said some pretty nice things about her, and basically said that Shannon Doherty was an asshole and therefore needed to be fired from the show. Charmed.
Right. What
Okay, and
was Shannon Doherty the one that got fired? I know there was one of them that there was an uproar. I
it
don't
was
remember.
it was Shannon Doherty,
Was it?
and now it's been years since this has happened,
That was
and
that was a show from early 2000s. I mean,
yeah,
we're talking 20 years.
yeah,
I'm guessing.
maybe even maybe even 90s.
I'm not sure.
It was on
Yeah.
for some time. It had quite a cult following, and I believe still does. Anyhow, um, there was a to do when she got fired because Shannon Doherty had kind of a little bit of a reputation of being kind of an asshole. I know she had some issues at Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah, she
We
did.
weren't there. We don't know, but
It
this
was reported.
yes, but I don't know because and then she came back, so
She
they
did.
must
She
have
went.
squashed it. So
Yeah.
either way, in this show, Alyssa Milano has kind of doubled down and stated again in an interview that Shannon Doherty was basically the asshole and needed to get out of there. Well, recently at a 90s Comic Con, Alyssa Milano was not there, and Shannon Doherty, again going through her cancer treatments, was there with her other co-stars, Rose McGowan and Holly Marie Combs, both
Okay.
of which were in this
Who? Wait. There were only three to start.
right. It was
So
Holly
did,
Marie Combs, Shannon Doherty, and Alyssa Milano were the three original sisters.
okay. So Rose McGowan replaced Shannon Doherty.
I don't know if she was the replacement. I know she came on. She may have come on when she was there, and then I'm not sure how it all worked out.
I never watched the show, so
I did loosely, but then it kind of got a little weird. But matter of opinion.
it's about witchcraft.
Anyways, it was.
That's all I know.
Anyways, um, so these three ladies come on, and Shannon Doherty is like, you know what? I've been going through some shit, and I've got cancer, and I'm working through it. And
Hmm.
she's like, I'm done. And she says, for myself to heal. I actually watched TMZ reported, and she's like, in order for myself to heal, she's like, my truth needs to be out there. And with those two cast members that were there, Holly Marie Combs and Rose McGowan, by her side, backed up everything she said.
Okay.
And basically, it was Alyssa Milano was pissed off because she wasn't the sole star of the show. Shannon Doherty actually was really kind of redeeming herself and kind of being a badass in the show. And Alyssa Milano got pissed and basically got her ass fired.
Okay.
And and then had turned it and said that it was because Shannon Doherty was an asshole and played on the 90210 drama and so on and so forth. And I don't think people really questioned it. However, Shannon Doherty lost her job, and she came out saying at the time, I'm not the asshole. It's not me, but America's sweetheart Alyssa Milano from Who's the Boss. People believed her. Shannon Doherty was an asshole in 90210. People didn't believe her. Now, fast forward 20 years later, and Shannon Doherty's going through some shit. She's had a life experience. I mean, cancer's gonna kind of put you in a different mindset, and
Yeah.
you kind of in any sort of illness or loss or anything like that, you kind of it puts things in perspective. And she's like, no, that's not the truth, and my truth has never changed. And now these two other ladies, Holly Marie Combs and Rose McGowan, are backing Shannon Doherty up, saying that no,
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano's the asshole. So back to the GoFundMe. Alyssa Milano is the asshole, in my opinion. And maybe, just maybe,
I don't
she
know.
is.
I look at it differently. To me, you're
And that's why we work because,
absolutely.
you know,
If my theory is if they needed $10,000 and assuming there's 12 to 13 kids on the team, that means your dues are about $800. Okay, no problem. That's all she's responsible for. That's
correct,
it. That's it.
correct.
That's it.
But, if it meant the kids playing or not playing and she
Oh,
had the
they
means
no,
to do
they hit the
so,
goal.
they hit the goal.
And they're going to play. And by her
Exactly.
posting it out there, that was guaranteeing that they were going to play. I
But
mean, because how many followers does she have?
who knows? I don't really care.
Let's just say she's got 100,000 followers,
Hmm.
just for an argument's sake, and every one of them gave $1. $1. It hits the thing. Doesn't hurt anybody. again,
This is
I
where we're going to have to agree to disagree because, and we do that quite frankly
absolutely.
a lot in this house with each other because there are situations we're not going to agree on, and this just happens to be one.
That is absolutely true. Um, so, but on a similar thing, you had brought up Beverly Hills 90210, right? And
Yes.
that was a big show back in the was it did that come out in the 80s or the late 80s or did it start in the early 90s?
I
I
don't
feel like it was
remember.
late 80s. I don't know
Maybe.
why.
I watched every single episode, never missed one, bawled like an absolute bitch when it ended. And there's a funny story about that.
I'd love to hear this funny story.
But it's not about 90210, it's about its spinoff, Melrose Place.
I already know that
But
story.
the character that I'm referring to actually
He came in and
started on
he
90210.
was building a trellis.
Yes, and segued, and that was like kind of the how they spun off
Hmm.
to Melrose Place.
Yep.
And that character was Jake, played by the really, really hot Grant Show.
Grant Show. Good Lord, that's a name for the past, right? Yeah,
And I
there we
still
go.
think he's hot now.
I have not seen him because I'm not going
Anyway,
to look it up.
oh Lord in heaven, ladies, that man
I'm
was
sorry, honey.
just so.
Yeah, he's probably got
I
better
love
hair
you.
than me.
You never had good hair.
I choose to shave it because it's going away.
It never was good though.
That's fine.
I've known him since we were 11.
Hmm.
Anyhow, Grant Show. So I have 3 older boys from my
Mhm.
first husband, and my oldest son, his name is Alexander,
Mhm.
and his name consequently came from a movie.
Okay.
And I'll tell that story at another time. And then my second son is Jake.
But now, if I remember correctly, because I was not there for this,
so
how did you spin this to your ex-husband?
so I actually mentioned the name to my ex-husband.
Did you give him the backstory?
Well, no.
Okay.
So I'm like, what about the name Jake? He's like, yeah, I don't like it. And he's like, I'm not a fan. And I'm like, and I really like the name because I'm like, God, that guy's hot. And that's just
Yeah,
a really
she
manly.
really liked the name.
I'm like, that is just, no, I thought it was like a really, like, to me, I just associated it with like a hot guy and just, it was like a really manly name. And I was having another boy.
Yep.
And now my ex-husband's grandfather, his name was his first name was the initial J. And his middle name was Lake, actually named after the doctor who delivered him. So his name was Jay Lake. So I told my ex-husband, well, you know what? We're naming him after your grandpa. And he looked at me and he goes, what? I'm like, yeah, if we take off the L of Jay Lake and we make it Jake.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I love that. That's not why I did it. That is not Jody. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
25 years later, you're now knowing he was named after Grant Show from Melrose Place. And I'm going to tell you right now, my Jake is really hot. He really is hot. You'll be introduced at another time. And for those that you know him, you know how hot he is. He's this big 6'3", buff, blue-eyed, just... Oh.
We'll have him on soon because he's training to be a professional wrestler.
Yes, he is, like WWE wrestling.
So he's actually going to debut here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. And we will bring him in to interview him.
We'll bring him out.
Y'all can meet him. He's quite the character.
He is.
But yeah, so Jake was named after Jake from Melrose Place because I thought he was a really hot guy. And you know what? I was right. It was like I was telling the future because, I mean, I named him after a really hot guy and he's even hotter than the first guy. So
it all worked out.
Yeah, it did.
It all worked out. Now, the best part is now your ex-husband's finding out that you spent 9 months fantasizing about a guy on TV. And yeah. And you literally just swindled him into it.
I did. I think that's brilliant.
Well played, though. Well played.
Yeah. I say it's brilliant.
So on you know what, speaking of 90210, and if you think about it, they tackled a lot of issues.
They did.
Back in the day.
They really did. And now they did try to bring that show back, and
They did.
I tried to watch it for a hot second, and they lost the luster. They really did. It you cannot recreate magic like that. And
did they bring anybody back though?
I believe they brought Kelly and Donna back, which those two are still really good friends, and they've done some. But even so.
Wrong too.
And I think maybe the other ones maybe made cameos, but I'm not sure. It just didn't initially get me, so I was done.
They lost me when Brandon left. Brandon Walsh was the show.
No,
I think so.
No. But either way.
Because even when Luke Perry left, nobody cared.
No, well,
they didn't care.
And
then he came back and everybody was like,
soul.
okay. No, I mean, no, yes, the guy was outstanding in Oz, and it sucks that he died, and his kid is doing fantastic in wrestling, actually, Jungle Boy. So that's pretty cool. But
And
you
he did
remember?
really well on the with Archie and Jughead. Rosedale, is that it?
I have no idea.
Rose
Wait, Dale, something Dale.
something Dale.
Is there a show?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So I don't know, with Archie and Jughead and Veronica and Betty. What is that?
That was a comic strip, right?
Yeah, but they brought it to a TV show. I actually
Really?
watched it. It had one of the Sprouse brothers.
Never. I
Um,
have no idea.
mm-hmm,
I know which one you're talking about. Was it
mm-hmm.
just called Archie or something? The Archie comics?
The Archie comics, but yeah, the show. I don't remember what it's called.
No, that's cool.
Jake, can you look that up?
So we got a fact checker, Jake, over here.
The show
Um,
with Archie and Jughead.
Riverdale.
Riverdale,
Riverdale.
yay! See, that's why we keep the kids around. Riverdale, yes. And
And Luke
he was in
Perry's
that. Yeah, he was
Wow.
the dad.
Oh, that's right.
He
Yeah, I
was
did know that.
Archie's dad in that.
Okay.
And
That's
then
cool.
he passed while they were actually not while they were filming, but while the show was
Right.
in filming.
And then like Jason Priestley, he's into directing now.
Mm-hmm. He actually is just starring in a new show on the CW. Actually, I want to watch where I think he's in jail and his daughter is like a con artist, and then she has to team up with a police officer,
Oh, okay.
something like that. So that's worth a watch.
I kind of dig it.
Yeah,
We'll
because
give
we're
it a
having a
shot.
really hard time finding TV shows.
We are. Well, actually, no, we found a couple good ones.
We a couple, but
Just a
we
couple.
find what's on network television generally sucks.
In general.
Yeah, it's too either political, it's too woke, it's
is.
too violent, it's too. Hmm.
And you can't watch the news because
Yeah, we stopped watching the
none of it's
news.
true. So
It-
you have to read between the lines and not watch network news.
So we got rid of cable.
Got rid of it.
Truthfully,
Well, and here's the problem, and here's why we ended up.
sorry,
getting
we
rid
veered
of
off
cable.
at 90210, but that's how we operate.
But we had to get rid of cable, and because of all of the networks are just wanting more and more money. So
We were paying almost $300 a month for TV we didn't watch.
just for TV, and so we cut that down, and now it's under $100, and I got 1 gig internet, and we have a few
streaming
streaming
services. We actually have like all of them.
Peacock, I believe, is worth it, because you're going to start getting the NFL and stuff like that. Paramount, we do enjoy that because it's got all the CBS shows like the Big Brothers and the Survivors and all that.
And they're uncut, so you can watch them swear and stuff. It's actually pretty cool.
That is cool. And they did just announce the new Survivor cast.
Yeah. Ooh,
It
I
comes
didn't
out
see
on
that.
February 28th.
I'm totally going to be on Survivor one day,
Absolutely.
but I really want to.
I will do Big Brother. I would love to be away from my phone for 6 months. I think that'd be fantastic.
It's not 6 months.
It's about 4 months now. They do about like 115 days now. It's long.
You wouldn't last that long.
Oh, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
They would not probably last keeping me in the house. I
Yeah.
could last. I just don't think I could keep my mouth shut.
No.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. But I love you.
Well, thank you. I love you too.
Yeah.
We're fun together.
I
So,
would totally win Survivor though.
so back in the day,
I
back
will
on TV
eat
shows.
anything.
So one of the things, I was a big Saved by the Bell fan, right?
I was, but when I was a kid, he still is.
So, but some of these shows actually are still relatable, in my opinion, and they still try and bring them back. And we have found that there's very little creativity in Hollywood. Everything is a
Yeah,
reboot,
it's regenerated, it's
reboot,
regurgitated.
remake, redo, even like an SVU, right? Chris Maloney, Mariska Hargitay were the original cast.
Mhm.
Chris Maloney went away. He did his stint on Oz. He had his show Jack, which was fantastic, by the
SVU
way.
is a spinoff.
Horrible the fact that thing got canceled. But SVU, yes, was a spinoff. But now they've even brought Maloney back.
Yes, but
So-
I think he's got a spinoff.
I think he's back on SVU.
No, I thought he was a.
This is how much we don't. Pay
Yeah, this is how
attention.
much we don't watch TV. But you know what? We used to be diehard SVU fans. We really.
SVU, NCIS.
Yeah, well, NCIS was always good, but they lost Mark Harmon. And,
They did.
But CSI, however, and I used to watch Criminal Minds. But
That one was screwed up.
yeah, that one was twisted. We stopped watching that. I think that was the first one we stopped
That was
watching
one
because
where-
it started giving you nightmares. I mean, it was kind of terrifying.
We understand that this stuff is ripped from headlines, but it was almost like to the point where they were glamorizing these terrible things that were happening to people, and
But more so
it was
on
disturbing.
SVU. Criminal Minds was nightmare inducing, but
It was.
SVU I find even more disturbing. And again, this is just simply my opinion.
Yeah.
But I remember a few years ago sitting back and watching it, and it was an episode where the child had things done to it,
Mhm.
and I was sitting there thinking, where and how in the hell, as a society, have we gotten so demented and out of
Yep.
touch that we find this entertainment? I don't care if it's ripped from the headlines. It doesn't need to be repeated or portrayed or played out anywhere. And even these child actors that are having to, I get it. It's lines.
It's a
But
job.
but that's disturbing to me as a mom. I wouldn't let my child participate in something like that. And no, it's not eye opening. It's not education. It's disturbing. And in my opinion, there's no way to spin that. I think that profiting and glamorizing, because that's like what you're doing. And no, you're not making it okay for that to happen, but the show is scripted television. It's for entertainment purposes.
Hmm.
How in the fuck, as a society, are we okay with rape, sexual violence against men, women, children, animals? When is that entertainment? I think it's sick.
Well, I think it's the the overall, it's the good versus evil.
No, but
It is.
but
Now, I do
I
believe they
think
go
it's
too far.
desensitizing. I
Oh, it
really,
is.
it's
Hands
almost like
down.
they're trying to
Absolutely.
desensitize you and make you, for what reason, I don't know, but it's fucked up.
They're trying to normalize fucked up behavior.
Well,
And I believe
maybe,
that.
honestly, with
Because
everything with the Epstein shit that we're finding out
right.
now and the powers that be, a lot of them being in Hollywood, I guess that explains it. And maybe they're just trying to rationalize it, make it okay for the rest of us. But I
So,
think it's fucked up.
well, like I said, they're trying to normalize it so that
And I swear, sorry.
when it happens in real life, it's not as traumatic.
Yeah, it's
And it's kind of
desensitizing.
sad.
And no, it is traumatic. It is.
No, but I believe their goal is to make it where everybody just sees it all the time. So
And
it's
I'm
like,
going to give you some information right now. I was a victim as a child. And I'm going to tell you, it's fucked up. It is fucked up that anybody, and I'm sorry, I was guilty myself. And
we watched it
we did.
for
And
years.
I just remembered the one, I vividly sitting there and just going, what the fuck is wrong with us? This is not okay. It was an episode with a child. And I'm like, I couldn't watch it.
Now, here's the funny part. I think Mariska Hargitay is a fantastic actress.
She's
I,
a fantastic actress,
I
but
think Chris
pick
Maloney.
a new damn lane.
I think Chris Maloney,
The acting is fantastic,
yeah, is outstanding.
but y'all can rationalize it however you want. And you know what? If you enjoy it, great.
Mhm.
These again are our opinions, but
I'm
think
a-
about the core of that. Think about what entertainment they're offering, and they're offering special victims, which is all sex-based crimes. And it is in your face, in your home, every Wednesday. And we come from a generation where you couldn't even say ass on television.
Nope.
And now you're getting naked boob shots on TV, and you're seeing children get raped, and you're seeing, it's, no, thank you. Not in my house. And my children are older, and no, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I won't sit through it. And I'm not a fuddy duddy, and I'm not a prude. Well, kind of, but
I mean, you do have 6 kids, so
all within marriage. Well,
You're-
except for Braden, but
yeah,
you know,
but you're
but either
only,
way.
yeah. People still find it entertaining, unfortunately, and they will continue to do so. It's actually one of the highest rated shows on NBC still, so it's not going
Again,
to
to
change.
each their own.
It's not going to change.
But I'm
And
entitled to my opinion.
absolutely, absolutely, and it just doesn't go on in our house, and that's just the way we believe, and that it hasn't been that way all the time.
No, it hasn't.
We've
You
changed
know,
over
like
time.
we do like CSI. You know, we liked NCIS.
And GIS was good. That,
Life happens too, like where
Sure.
we kind of got out of touch with TV shows because, well, a lot of the shows that we really liked, like we would always find a show and then it would be canceled. We
well, speaking of Chris Maloney,
He had
Jack,
yeah, it
one
was
of the
on
funniest
Fox
shows. He was a dad.
for one season.
One season.
He
and-
was like a high doctor, like a high stress doctor or something, and I think he had a heart attack or something, or he was,
and he ended up having to spend more time with his kids.
and his wife was going back to school or something.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, and if you could find it on a streaming platform, I highly recommend it. It was fantastic.
I think Mason's tried to find it and couldn't.
It is so good.
There was one episode where his kid was up to bat and he was
No,
having
he,
a really.
he was in the outfield. All right, so he was trying to teach his kid to stay focused while he was trying out for the baseball team. So in warm-ups, the coach hit a pop-up for his kid to catch. Well, right before the ball comes down, Chris Maloney fires off a shotgun. And the
The
kid
kid
obviously ducks, missed the thing, and
he
tells
looks
him
at him
he's
and he
rattled.
goes, "Rattled."
You can't get rattled. So he would do these messed up things so his kid would stay focused. Each one funnier than the next.
And the whole episode, he just go
Rattled.
rattled.
And
We still do that to this day.
to this day we still do it. And if you get a chance to see that episode, it is so good and it's
It
so
was
well
like they
written.
wrote, if you had a personification of my husband, I think, and that's so much why we all liked it, because it was just so funny, and it was like our household, and it was just because that was the crazy, insane shit that we would do to our
I believe
kids.
that was a tear-inducing laughter in that episode,
Yeah.
and that doesn't happen often. So if you
No.
do find those episodes that you can laugh and tear up, those are golden.
You know, like, speaking of which, like, there's a lot of stuff they've done reboots on. And some of them they've tried to do, like we were talking earlier, 90210.
Yep.
Where they brought in a couple of people, but then it was like a whole new concept. And okay, great, try it out, bring a whole new generation in, wonderful. However, there's some that they did the reboots and they continued with the same cast, like Murphy Brown. I was a huge
Oh my God,
Murphy
that was so
Brown.
good.
Yeah, and they canceled
it
it.
one time.
Yeah.
Or one season. Well, and you know what? They did that with Roseanne, if you remember correctly.
Well, no, they canceled Roseanne.
So, but if you remember when we watched that show, right when it came back, it was very political, huge. And then she went on a rant, and they took her show away from her.
And now they're begging her back. You know that, right? They're begging her back because that show is drowning.
Well,
and she's like,
I believe
off.
that the Connors has run its course.
And it's too woke. And I think that's a lot of it.
We stopped watching when she got taken away. Because I don't necessarily agree with everything that Roseanne says.
No.
Because.
But, you know, the problem today is everybody's feelings.
Well, she has every right to say it.
Yes.
So, but the networks have every right to fire her if they feel it's against their
code of
and
conduct.
They do.
But their code of conduct is funny because it only seems to work in a certain way.
It works when it works for the network.
Mm-hmm.
The actual actors and players in the game, they have no say. They don't.
No, but
no, because unfortunately and luckily, I believe cancel culture is dying. I hope it's dying, because that just needed to go away.
Well, here's the problem: it's a societal problem. I don't think it's a cancel culture problem. It's a societal problem, and I think everybody is getting too caught up in your feelings, and that's not life. Feelings don't pay the bills. Those are your feelings, and do like everybody else did, like Generation X did, and internalize that shit, and you're going to be fine. We are better for it.
Bigger, better, stronger.
Yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only person with those feelings, you're a victim. Stop. Like, shut the fuck up. Be better. You want change? Make change. But whining and pissing about your fucking feelings is not change.
The funny thing is, one of the things that we were always taught growing up, and it's the stupidest sticks and stones
may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Or guess what?
Words will never hurt me. I
say it to my kids.
But
I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say to me bounces off me and sticks to you.
Unfortunately, now in this day and age, words are apparently lethal.
Yeah.
Because
you no longer have freedom of speech. You no longer have freedom of thought, freedom of opinion, because now there's.
So I understand that it's words. Words has caused so much division in this world, and it's sad. It really is sad.
It really is. But back to the reboots.
Yeah, back to the reboots.
We've Night Court.
Fantastic.
Now that is a reimagining. The one person that they brought back was
John Larroquette, the best one in the show.
Dan Fielding,
outside of Harry, but he passed away.
Yes,
Harry Anderson.
Yes, and the premise is the chick from Big Bang.
Yep.
Melissa Rauch.
Yep.
She is Harry Stone's daughter, and she's just as kooky and quirky as he was, and so that I actually enjoy. Mm-hmm. They have a whole new, bailiff she's goofy, and they kind of kept it the same vibe. And then Dan is Dan. And Dan
made the show back in.
But he's kind of like the fatherly Dan. He's kind of taken Harry Stone's daughter, and I actually like that one, the reimagining of it, but it is, but it isn't. It's just a little bit of the character.
It's kind of the same setup, but
they brought Roz back.
They did bring Roz
for
back.
one, but I think did Bull? I think Bull had passed.
Bull has passed.
Marky Post has passed.
Oh, has she?
Yeah.
Mac passed.
Mac passed. So yeah, so
So
really
Dan
Dan
and
and Roz
Roz.
are the only two that are left. But I think they've done really well in that.
I
I
believe they
really
have.
do. I mean,
I think the writing's really good.
mhm.
We do enjoy that one.
Another one that we have enjoyed is Frasier.
Frasier.
Now, funny story is I never liked Cheers. Cheers was really big, and that's where Frasier came from.
It is.
And however,
Mhm.
I really, really liked Frasier, the original Frasier and his brother and the dad. I loved that show. It was hilarious. It was stuffy, but it was funny. Um,
Here's a complete sidebar because I love Frasier. I never watched the original. Nope.
are you crazy? Really? What?
Never did.
Are you serious?
Never did.
Oh my
I
goodness!
watched Cheers. Love Cheers. Um, Never watched Frasier because, and here's why. Here's why though. It wasn't because of.
Pardon me. Got to open the Diet Dr Pepper.
It wasn't. That's loud. It
The
wasn't.
nectar of the gods.
It wasn't the Frasier. It wasn't David Hyde Pierce because I actually thought he was good.
It was Jane Levy, the
I hated his wife,
who?
the actress that played his wife.
Whose wife?
What's his name? Or what's her name? She just came back in the new one. And
Baby New Earth. She wasn't in that show at all.
She wasn't.
No,
Oh, I
they
thought
were
she was.
divorced. No,
No,
never was in there. I
Yeah,
mean, she
never
may have
got
made
into
an appearance every now and again.
I thought she was.
No,
Never watched
not
it.
at all.
But I truly enjoy the way
You would
they've
have
done it.
enjoyed that one.
Maybe we'll go
Mhm.
back and do that
Yeah.
because I never saw it. I know
I
it's
don't
on.
like to watch reruns though.
I love
That's like my big downfall. Like I watch a movie
Mhm.
once and I don't like to watch it again unless it's like an absolute classic.
Right.
I'm not. I remember it. I get bored. I really do. I get bored really easily.
So, yeah, those are the two comedy ones, right? You're not a sitcom person though. That's just not kind of your jam.
So funny for me, what
It is
I
hard.
find if funny is real life. To me, real life is funnier than fiction. And so like I like to watch like America's Funniest Home Videos, like
Yeah,
farting and
it's good.
falling. I am like a 12-year-old boy. Like I
Mhm.
will laugh hard. Um, again,
There are times we'll just sit on the couch and just
we'll scroll and watch funny videos on our
yep.
phones, animals and unscripted humor to me is the funniest humor. I think when you script things, sometimes you try too hard and
Yep.
you lose me.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan, and again, I think it's back to my ADHD. I have been diagnosed. It's not something that I think I have. I have been diagnosed. Um, and we can talk about that journey in another time because I've got so much information on there. And our generation was actually one of the biggest misdiagnosed generations of ADHD, which he actually has it and he never thought it was a thing. Um, so it's really hard to keep me engaged. And I have found unscripted humor really, really gets me. Sports keeps me engaged because I don't know the outcome. My
Except
brain,
golf.
oh my God, that's like watching.
I
But
disagree.
in NASCAR, I can only watch the first or the end laps.
We're
like
making a
because
left turn.
but it's not even that. Like I come from a family that loved like the Indy 500, but to me it was like it was pointless to watch the damn shit until you were into the last couple of laps
Yeah,
because it was kind of like
I don't believe that NASCAR doesn't translate well on TV.
No.
I believe if
And
you're
going there might be a different story. I've
I believe
never
if you're
watched one
there,
live.
you're engaged the entire time. But that's
And hockey's hard for me because it's like following that puck. Again, my ADHD. I'm like,
now. Do you remember back in the day, hockey? They had the red puck
mhm.
where it would show.
I love the Blackhawks.
Yep.
We would watch the Blackhawks like that was our thing. But yeah.
But we've kind of gotten out of the Blackhawks thing, the hockey thing down here. They have the Carolina Hurricanes, but we have no desire to go.
No. But back to TV,
Mhm.
mysteries. Mysteries have always
Mysteries.
worked for me, but they have to be good. I figure things out, and it's bothersome to me because and the thing is I'm like, do you want me to tell you
Me
now
too,
how it
because
ends?
she tells me.
I ask you. Do you want me to tell you now or?
No, you don't always ask.
I'm sorry, but I'm usually
Yeah, she's usually right. Like we were just watching a season, and on
Only
episode one,
Only Murders in the Building season 3.
somehow
Episode 1.
knowing
I told him
no info,
I don't look ahead. I don't like to. I'm not. I
She
read.
goes-
I'm an avid reader. I don't
and
like
she
to look
goes,
ahead.
"They did it." I'm like, whatever. Episode 5. I'm like, oh shit. 8. I'm like, oh god damn it. 10. Yeah, you were right. So yeah.
However, I like it smartly written, and you know where I have found the most. We actually
Yeah.
have found that the mysteries we really enjoy. The freaking Hallmark Channel, the Hallmark mystery channels, because it kind of goes back to when I was growing up with my grandmother. my mom had me when she was young, so we lived with my grandma
Hmm.
quite frequently. She was a huge buff into mysteries,
She
and I
would watch
think
her stories.
no, well, kind of. We would watch Dynasty and all that kind
There
of
we
stuff,
go.
and we would get to sip grandma's.
Everybody called them their stories, or
My
everybody's
grandmother did
grandma.
not call them
My
stories.
grandma did.
My grandma did not.
They were the stories.
But I would sit with my grandma while everybody was out and doing whatever, and we would um, sip her special Dr. Pepper, which was Amaretto di Serrano and Dr. Pepper,
Blech. Yeah.
and we would watch, mysteries,
Mhm.
and then we're from Chicago, and they would have the WGN weekend matinee, and
Mhm.
so we would watch like the old Charlie Chan movies and Sherlock Holmes and the whodunits and the film noirs, and those always kept you guessing. The Sam Spade movies with Humphrey Bogart, and I really was a fan. And then she was really, and it was probably because she probably had ADHD too.
Oh, maybe.
But we would watch Columbo and Moonlighting and Remington Steele, and I
Murder She Wrote.
always
Were you Murder
no,
She Wrote?
no,
No.
no. I liked it. I would watch the episodes, but no, that's not something that we had watched together. My grandma was more gritty.
We were. My grandma was a Perry Mason. I
My grandma did like Perry Mason.
love Perry Mason.
Hmm.
Those were always really good, and
Yeah,
it's amazing. In every episode, they confessed. It's a crazy story.
because Perry was really good. I mean, he knew how
Apparently,
to get.
apparently, get them really scared that they had to confess to murder.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I didn't. We didn't really watch the doctor shows or anything.
mm-mm.
Really wasn't too sitcom-y because again, for me, sitcoms, it's like they're trying too hard sometimes, and it's got to be smartly written for me
So,
to really kind of enjoy it. Like I kind of
what about Friends?
I liked Friends.
Yeah.
I did, but that was also our age group, and it was
Yeah.
truly smartly written as well. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't. I watched every episode of that. I cried when it went off the air.
I did not watch Friends. I've seen Friends
Now,
and reruns, but I
what's
never
really
watched it.
cool was during COVID, our now 16-year-old son,
Yes.
he got into Friends,
Hmm.
and he
Binge watched
was,
it.
yeah, he was really pissed off. I think when Rachel and what's his name
Ross.
broke up.
Yep.
He was really invested and really kind of angry about that whole situation.
He got
So,
excited. He got excited when he said her name though in Paris.
hmm
So I do know some about Friends. I just wasn't a diehard, and everybody else was.
hmm
But my favorite sitcom growing up, and this was when I was way young, MASH. MASH was a fantastic show.
I
Uh,
never liked MASH.
you
He
missed it.
still watches it,
Yeah, I do.
but I thought you were
Absolutely.
gonna go Fresh Prince. Now I liked Fresh Prince
So
too,
Fresh Prince was good, and there's no doubt. And then
and the reboot. I'm sorry, I've not watched
I
it,
have
but
not.
I can't.
Mm-mm.
I couldn't.
That didn't get me excited.
No,
No,
not
it
at
didn't get
all.
me excited.
And maybe they're opening it to a new generation. It's just not for me, for us.
So in my opinion, on reboots, you've got to bring back at least a one or two main characters to get me
Maybe
interested
there's
in
a
it.
cameo we don't know about.
But even so, I'm not hip on cameos. I want somebody that's going to be
Substance.
committed for a season. So like when they brought back Night Court, John Larroquette's in the show. I'm in. That's my favorite character. Frasier, they brought back Frasier. He's the main character in the show, and I
Well,
understand
he's
he's
the
the namesake,
namesake.
and I get that. Um, but if they bring back like you said, they brought back Beverly Hills 90210, but they were focusing on the younger characters, and they brought back Donna and Kelly, but they were just side pieces. And
Now they did do. Excuse me. I have this thing called a hiatal hernia, so it makes me burp. So I'd totally burp like a truck driver, but it feels so good. So if I do it, I'm really sorry. It's not intentional, but it does happen. That said, they did do that 90210 thing where it was, and I thought the concept was really fucked up. However, do you remember this? It was only a season long, and they actually kind of crowdsourced this, where it was them starring in a reboot. So they were playing themselves
So
that starred in a reboot,
yes, I
and
do
we
remember
actually
that.
really enjoyed it, and they stopped it. It's kind of like
They did, and that was really good.
we are the
I-
generation you want to cater to, because if we watch it, I
I
guarantee you our kids watch it.
I did,
And
I did,
think,
I do remember that. That was another one of those good ones that we were upset that they canceled.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you got to do?
and there was a really big crowd behind it saying, what? But it's kind of like, I think these networks kind of have their own agenda sometimes
I
and
believe
don't
so.
really listen to what anybody else says.
Well,
Kind of like when they redid the dwarves and made them not dwarves, and now you
right. Well, I mean, ultimately it comes down to one thing.
money, money, money.
It always comes down to money. So either our generation is too cheap and they couldn't sell advertising on the network and it just wasn't profitable enough based on the salaries they were doing.
I don't believe our
We don't know.
generation is too cheap. I really don't. I
We don't know.
really truly don't. I think we're smart.
We are absolutely, but
Not
if
saying other generations aren't,
no,
but we're just a whole different type of breed.
but what is the demographic they want? Is it our age? No. Well, no, we're out of the demographic they care about. It's 18 to 45.
Which is ridiculous because we
We're
are the
out.
driving force. I mean, we are the ones driving the bus at this time, and these kids are our children. And
But that the big number they show is 18 to 45. That's the one they want. They don't care about the boomers. They don't care about the Gen Xers. They care about 18 to 45. What are y'all watching? That's who they want us to advertise to. That's who they feel is going to spend the money.
we're only 46.
I'm just telling you, we're out of the demo. They don't care
They're
what we think.
stupid. You're stupid.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Hey, Hollywood, you got to wisen up.
Well, at least for us Gen Xers,
We still
yeah,
watch it. You got to remember, everybody's living a little bit longer.
yeah,
Everybody's going to have to work a little bit
yeah.
longer.
Nikki Haley, piss off on raising. No,
We'll throw that in there just for fun.
I had to.
Had to. It's been
Mhm.
biting at you, right?
It has. She wants to raise the retirement age because
Uh,
we're living longer.
So I have a view on that.
She's not going to make it, so it really doesn't matter. She's a Democrat in Republican clothing. In
It
case
doesn't.
you haven't guessed.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
It's not going to matter.
No. Anywho, back to TV.
Back to TV.
I would rather watch the streaming.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes
And
it
the
easier.
only problem that we have run into is we missed one athletic game, one football game. I found it
We did.
on Fox app and
Yeah.
didn't end up getting the app because honestly, they don't make it easy.
It's not very user friendly.
No, it wasn't. It was not user friendly. And, you know,
And we would have to pay $6 a month to watch 2 games a year.
eh,
And it's just not
stupid.
worth it.
Anyways, but the one thing that I do miss is the background noise. Do you know what I'm saying? So we would put on like a ridiculousness, or we would just, you can
Right.
channel surf and I can just kind of throw on Oxygen or whatever. But there's options. And
There are options.
$300 is not worth it to me
It's not.
for junk. It's really not, because the shit that's out there is just, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
isn't of the caliber that warrants $300 a month.
And the worst part, it's going up because Disney wants more money. Disney's losing money on all their movies, so now they're
Well,
raising all the
because
prices.
Disney has gone woke,
Mhm.
and they are
Bob
what-
Iger's losing a lot of money.
what they're putting out there for kids is definitely not what we grew up with. Is definitely not what we put our kids onto, and it quite frankly, to me, it's disturbing.
Well,
They should not. Their sexuality should not come into play or into a child's vocabulary.
that's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah, and but that's what they're insinuating that in there. You know, Disney has no business talking about the big red monster, which was periods, in a children's movie. I'm sorry, it's just not okay. I don't, you know, and you need to put 2 moms in there, 2 dads in there. That's fine, because that matches what sometimes society is,
That is a fact.
and that's okay. But why is everything about sexuality, especially for children? And that is, I think, where, actually not I think, that's where I know Disney is losing people,
I
because
agree.
shame on you.
Mhm.
Shame on you, and shame on the powers that be that think that you have no business talking or presenting that to our children. It should be, our kids should be kids. They should be playing with dolls. They should be playing with toys. They should be enjoying themselves, not wondering what Bobby and Bobby are doing, or, you know, the big red monster. What the hell? No, thank you.
Yeah.
They can just watch the shit from when we were kids, and you know what? That still stays good, so we're cool with that.
There we go.
The only problem with Disney, we got rid of Disney, actually, and we brought it back because we like the old shit, and I love Star Wars,
No, we brought it back for a different reason. It's because they tied it into Hulu and ESPN.
and it was
And
a package deal.
cheaper to do it that way than do the ESPN and Hulu separate. So
Mhm.
that's how they swindled us into it. But Disney doesn't. It's not even on our TV. We have ESPN on our
Yeah,
TV.
I don't even think we've watched anything.
We didn't. We didn't even download the app. We have Hulu and we have ESPN. We just did it because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
So, haha.
they don't care about us,
No, they really don't. They just
Mm-mm.
they get our $13 a month.
but we can feel like we're going,
I feel good about it.
yeah, I do too. Well, you've heard enough of us in TV, so I think until we meet again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to come up with more fun topics for next time.
Y'all have a
Later.
great night.